We live in a twilight world. Let's do a quick recording. This is definitely going to be a quick one. So today on the world stage, there was a collision between an oil tanker and a cargo ship. Yeah, this happened in what they call the North Sea. So just to the east of northern England, yeah. We'll look at some maps in a minute, but straight off the bat we can see smoke, and of course this is being filmed. Therefore, we have the smoke and mirrors I often talk about. We usually see smoke and mirrors in war zones. So the hidden hand that controls both sides of the war will make sure that their forces will either artillery strike or missile strike empty buildings or fields, but nevertheless, it will create a big tower of smoke in the distance. So if you have like a city, for example, or a town or a village, you'd make sure that they strike, I don't know, say an oil depot, something like that, that's outside of the village or city. And then, of course, all of the people, the citizens, will look over yonder into the distance. They'll see the tower of smoke. They'll all film it on their Black Mirror devices, their pocket TVs, their smartphones, and then they will then share it on social media. Now, smoke and mirrors has been used for a long time. The only difference with smoke and mirrors now is they've got citizens to be the cameraman instead of the mainstream media. But the same thing applies here. Although it's not an empty building or an empty field, it's probably, I don't know for sure because I haven't really looked much into it, but this oil tanker probably was due for the scrap heap. I don't know. That's something we'll have to look into. But nevertheless, it's just close enough to the north of England that people can see it out in the distance. So you can't really say it's fake because you can look in the distance and you'll see the big tower of smoke, and it's definitely going to be connect, as in real. But anyway, we'll talk more about that later on. Let's watch a quick video.
Others on both those ships, the Solong as well as the Stena and Immaculate, have been accounted for and are now ashore, having been taken off those two ships. The collision, which happened off the coast of East Yorkshire at just 10 to 10 this morning.
East Yorkshire at just 10 to 10 this morning.
As you all know, 10 in Roman numerals is X. So 1010 would be XX. We've got a double cross there. So yeah, man, 10 to 10 or 10 past 10. We have the double cross. Like I've said before, I don't think this is the same business as, Freemasons leaving their fingerprints on purpose with the 33s and all that business. I believe the 20 committee are operating from the other side of reality, the world which exists but we cannot see, and the XX is the bleed through. As you can see here, one of the boats or ships, the Stella Immaculate, has a double cross on the side there. I'm sure you can see it. I don't have my pointy mouse thing with me, but you can see it there on the side. It says Max, and then there's an XX. So that's two double crosses we got now. Let's watch another quick video.
Have so far been brought ashore at Grimsby. The Coast Guard rescue helicopter was scrambled from Humberside alongside lifeboats from Skegness, Bridlington, Maplethorpe and Cleethorpes. This is the map of the location. The collision site is around 20 kilometres off the coast there.
Collision site is around 20 kilometres off the coast there.
So there we go, 20 kilometres off the coast there. So that's 20, 20 in Roman numerals is XX. So that's three now, 3 XXs we got. Now let's watch another quick video. This is where it gets fucking ridiculous.
Port in Hull. So an obvious question, why was more care not being taken? Let's speak to our reporter, Rowan Bridge, who's just arrived in Grimsby Force. Let's start with the rescue, Rowan. What do we know about the crews on board?
Yes, well, we know that at least 32 people have been brought ashore following that collision. They have been brought through the port here in Grimsby, where I am.
So this guy here is called Rowan Bridge, and he's going over the incident, or perhaps accident, that happened in the water. Now, I think they're taking the piss. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stretching my imagination too far here, but Rowan Bridge, as in like row and bridge. You row over water, as in to row a boat, and a bridge usually goes over water. A bridge over water. So Rowan Bridge, I don't know, man. I think they're taking a piss. That's my opinion. I don't know for sure. But anyway, let's get to it. So how does this fit into illusion warfare, or, you know, an illusion operation? Yeah, we're not going to be these people that just sit behind a computer screen saying everything is fake. You know, we need to understand, well, why? Why would they do it? Motive. Yeah, to be a good detective, we need to consider the motives and bridge together why this would be an illusion operation. You know, what would be gained, who would gain, and how would it uphold the false reality that we find ourselves in? Firstly, let's think about how they would have done this. This would have been very, very easy, yeah? At the end of the day, Skynet, the British intelligence satellite communication network, can just hijack all of the other satellite networks and navigation systems across the world. In the UK, we have GPS. Over in Russia, they have the GLONASS. And then there's Galileo. You know, there's all these different satellite navigation systems. Skynet, yes, the British intelligence satellite network has the same name as Skynet from the Terminator films, can just hijack these systems like a ghost in the machine. And, you know, think how many thousands and thousands of ships manage to go every day through their voyage without crashing, like over the last 100 years. It's a fail-safe system. So Skynet would have hijacked the maritime navigational system and made it so one tanker or cargo ship smashed into the other, right? Because one ship was anchored. It wasn't moving. Now, really, back to the name Rowan Bridge, really on every ship, whether it's an oil tanker or a cargo ship, you would have someone on the bridge, a human eyeballs also keeping a lookout. So how they didn't see that happening makes me very suspicious, right? Because that's their whole job. You know, you have one job, yeah, when you're sailing across the sea, not to hit stuff, right? That's your one job. And they managed not to do that here. And conveniently, it happened to be a fuel ship, which would make a huge column of smoke. And it just so happens to be far enough away that we can't really investigate it, us citizen journalists, but regular folks who believe all the bullshit will see it from the coastline, right? So how they would do it is very simple. That's not a problem. And the fact that the fail-safe of having a human on the bridge keeping a lookout wasn't there, very suspicious. And the fact that it was a fuel oil tanker, which creates a smoke, which all ties into the smoke and mirrors business of our reality, yet again, all very suspicious. Now, just like with everything, like think back to when I investigated this volcano in Iceland. If you remember, like on the scale, the propaganda scale, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 12 out of fucking 10, with them making out that this volcano in Iceland, in Grindavik, was like an apocalyptic end of world volcano, when it wasn't. It was a nothing burger. They made out it was going to wipe out a whole fishing village, and it didn't. It was a nothing burger. Yeah, and for people that don't know, Iceland is called the land of fire and ice. They get volcanoes all the time. That's their whole thing. That's the whole drive of their tourism. Come and see a volcano, live action volcano. It's a volcanic island. Yeah, they've got 33, I know that number again, 33 active volcanoes. And their whole tourism thing, like when you come off the plane, there's all posters saying about the lava show and all of this kind of stuff. So why would the government make out that a volcano is all of a sudden a big deal? Why? Because then they can declare a state of emergency. Yeah? And with a state of emergency, they can now push government measures, but also these states of emergency, yeah, cost money. So the country and the government now has to borrow money to deal with this state of emergency that doesn't even exist. They're just creating it. Yeah, it's a false, untrue perception of reality, an illusion being weaponized against people. So they go into the whole false reality of needing a government and paying taxes. Same again with the recent thing that I just went to, the earthquake situation in Santorini, on the Greek island of Santorini. I was there. Yeah, okay, there was a few earthquakes. So what? That place, that whole line going from Athens downwards has been having earthquakes since the dawn of time. There is nothing new about that line, yeah, having earthquake, because it's on a tectonic plate. Yeah, for the last 10 years, every 10 years, there's a sort of a slight peak in earthquake behavior, in earthquake activity, but it's never that serious. But once again, why would they exaggerate the earthquakes? Because then they create a state of emergency on an island of Santorini, they evacuate it, they claim they need a whole search and rescue operation in case, and you know, this costs millions, and they have to borrow that money from themselves, right? Or that has to be paid back by the taxpayer, but yet again, it justifies a government. Because if the government wasn't there to protect you from this thing that doesn't actually exist, you'd all be dead, right? Also, it keeps their bullshit kind of accounts all adding up. You know, if we were ever to go into face the government and say, look, we want to see the books, man. We want to know where the money is. Why are we getting taxed? Like, what are you wasting your money on? Little things like this will cover billions, right? I've even heard them say, even though this has only happened within 24 hours, this event we're talking about, the ships colliding, that it's going to cost billions to mop up the jet fuel that's apparently now in the ocean. So once again, you know, you smash two tankers together, you create some world stage theatre, you keep people in fear, you keep people distracted and focusing on the Black Mirror. The Black Mirror being a TV, so your smartphone, your laptop, any form of TV, television, it's telling you a vision. And, you know, once again, it's like the meme of the thing dangling in front of the person, keeping them hypnotized, yeah? So let's tie this into truth hidden in fiction. They like to hide the truth within fiction, things like films, computer games, music, songs, and so on. If you remember the film Casino Royale, a James Bond film, 007 film. Quite a good film, actually. Is Daniel Craig's first outing as 007. I think it's a very stylish film and well made. But anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. One of the plot lines or plots within this film is he's basically tracking a criminal organization. And if you remember, what this criminal organization was doing is they were faking terrorist attacks on planes so they could then capitalize on the stock market crashing and so on.
Yes. When they analysed the stock market after 9/11, the CIA discovered a massive shorting of airline stocks. When the stocks hit bottom on 9/12, somebody made a fortune. The same thing happened this morning with Skyfleet stock, or was supposed to. With their prototype destroyed, the company would be near bankruptcy. Instead, somebody lost over $100 million betting the wrong way.
You think it's this man, the chief?
Which would explain how he could set up a high-stakes poker game at Casino Royale in Montenegro. 10 players, $10 million buy-in, 5 million rebuy. Winner takes all, potentially 150 million.
Good. Then we'll know where he'll be. Do you want a clean kill, or do you want to send a message?
We want him alive. The Schiffer doesn't have 100 million to lose.
Has he been playing the stock market with his clients' funds? I'm not going to be too happy when they find out it's gone.
We can't let him win this game. If he loses, he'll have nowhere to run. We'll give him sanctuary in return for everything he knows. I'm putting you in the game, replacing someone who's playing for a syndicate. According to Villiers, you're the best player in the service. Trust me, I wish it wasn't the case.
Because if a terrorist bomb goes off on a plane, the stock market will crash temporarily, and then they basically go in and buy everything for a penny. And then obviously the next, because it's not really a genuine terrorist threat, the next day or the next week or whatever, the stock will go up. Especially, I guess, the stock, if I can't remember exactly, but I think in the film they bought, or sorry, they were investing stock within airline stock, you know. So I think probably the day before they sold all of their stock within the stocks that related to airlines really high. They were going to do this terrorist attack and then buy everything back on the pennies, thus conjuring millions for themselves. Now, the thing is, although in the film, Casino Royale is all about a fictional gangster criminal network and so on, there are people that do this, right? This is what the parasites class does, right? The parasite class that are sort of helping to keep this false reality going make their money on stocks and shares, the stock market. So it's like insider trading. They will know a day before, they will be given a heads up, you know, that something's going to go down. A ship might collide with another ship on the ocean, and therefore, you know, carrying jet fuel. Therefore, why not sell your stock the day before, and in that little crash, quickly buy everything back? Also, you know, it will send shockwaves through the stock market. You know, this happened in the North Sea, and, you know, that place near Hull, I've forgotten what that river's called, but that's obviously a big, in regards to UK and Europe, that's a big, you know, location for cargo ships and fuel ships to be coming in. And no doubt with this going on, that's all going to be on hold, right? So that's going to send a shockwave through, you know, the airliners that need that jet fuel and all of the other oil tankers, just regular petroleum. You know, there's going to be now a backlog. It's going to send a shockwave through the shipping world, especially over here in the UK/Europe in the North Sea. So right now, there's probably lots of ships that have been told to just stay where you are while the situation is going to be sorted, right? It's going to cost millions as well. So you get what I'm saying? Yeah, just like in the 007 films, there are going to be organizations, I don't know, intelligence agencies, yeah, criminals, yeah, the parasite class, that are going to be making a lot of money out of this. And the side effects will only affect us plebs at the bottom. There might be like the fuel price might go up for a month or two, you know, petrol for your car, diesel for your car, yeah? Businesses all around the UK that were probably having materials shipped in, important components to whatever kind of operation they're running. Say they've got an engineering business or they're mechanics that repair cars that are waiting for parts to come from all across the world. This is now going to delay everything, right? So it will send this shockwave through the economy and through the stock market that someone somewhere is going to capitalize on and just make money over nothing. Yeah, overnight, billions are going to be lost somewhere, but other people are going to make billions I'm talking about, yeah, like I said, the parasite class. Yeah. All these aristocrats and royal families and shitheads that are quite happy to just be a part of the false reality as long as they get theirs, right? We live in a twilight world. There are no friends at dusk.